Kia ora, welcome back, besties, to the podcast. Hope you've had a fab week. Today, I've put together this episode. We're going to have a chat about body image, and I've put this together because I've noticed there's a lot of conversations blowing up on social media and even in the news about body image. And I mean, you may have seen that America's Next Top Model documentary that came out, and that may have stirred things up. Or you might have seen a recent interview in the New York Times with Gabriella Lascano. So she was a former body positivity influencer, and she is saying that she no longer aligns with the movement, that it's really harmful. And so a lot of people are feeling a lot of things. So let's start with Gabriella.
I used to be a body positivity influencer, preaching a simple message: love yourself at any size. Then I risked it all.
She shared in that interview that she lost two close friends, and they were really prominent in the fat liberation spaces, and that their loss was a real catalyst moment for her. She said that this forced her to question whether parts of that body positivity movement had actually become harmful. She felt like it was quite dismissive to conversations around health. She also, and this is the part people are really kind of coming at her for, she said she'd been brainwashed, and that a significant weight gain that she had was because she almost had like a permission slip given to her by that movement, and that she just totally let her health slide, and that she just no longer aligned with the messaging that she felt minimized people's health concerns. The problem is, people were really hurt by this. People are feeling betrayed, they're feeling attacked, and some feel scared that this is just another cultural swingback towards shame. Some people are even feeling really angry. They're feeling angry that a movement that helped them to survive is now being criticized. And so Gabriella is absolutely being slated online for stepping away from body positivity, but also for subsequently going on a weight loss journey. And then, of course, let's look at someone like Lizzo, right? So Lizzo was such a powerful symbol of body diversity and also for fat liberation too. And now we can see that her body has visibly changed. She has lost weight, and she's openly shared her journey, and she has so much pride and so much joy in this journey. But again, some people feel like really confused, disappointed, betrayed. So today, I think a really cool chat for us to have that I'm sure will be helpful. I want to offer my 2 cents on this, and not as just some random internet commentator, but as a therapist who specializes in body image and works with women on this particular issue every single day. I think more importantly though, I'm also a millennial woman. I have recovered from body dysmorphia and also binge eating disorder. So hopefully this is helpful. Let's just slow it all down, okay? Let's unpack what is actually happening beneath the noise. There are big feelings coming up for a lot of people, but there's also gray areas that I don't feel like are really being explored. And so I'm going to give you some practical tools and some mindset shifts so that you can support your own body image in the middle of all this noise. So let's first chat about why people are feeling hurt and also why it makes sense, why it's valid. So I think it's really important to say that when someone becomes a symbol of liberation for you, especially in a culture that has harmed you, well, then that symbol starts to feel much bigger than just a person, an individual, right? And I know that if you grew up in the early 2000s, so, or the 90s, we've got heroin chic, America's Next Top Model, weigh-ins, thigh gaps, Tumblr. Your nervous system probably learns that your body was a problem. And so this body positivity movement, when that popped up, you may have seen women in bigger bodies who were joyful and visible and confident. And it wasn't about aesthetics. It was really regulating and healing. It was all about more than just surviving. So when someone who felt like a pillar in that movement, like Gabriella, says, actually, I think this movement was harmful, or someone like Lizzo, who was way up there on the pedestal, changes her body, it can feel really destabilizing. is gonna poke at your old fears. You might start asking yourself things like, was I wrong for ever following this? Is my body unsafe again? Are we just going backwards? Are we going back to heroin chic? That emotional response actually really makes sense. But I want to say two things can be true at once, right? People are allowed to feel hurt, but individuals are also allowed full body autonomy. They're allowed to have an opinion about their own body and to take whatever action they feel like is best for them. So let's talk about Lizzo. She was a huge champion for fat liberation and body diversity. She shifted culture, she made space, but she's also a human being with her own body. And besties, she's allowed to change her body. She's allowed to pursue health goals as her own prerogative. She's allowed to evolve. She's allowed to do what feels aligned for her. Nobody owes us staying the same size. No one owes us being a symbol forever. In commenting on someone's body, whether they have gained weight or lost weight, it actually keeps us stuck in the exact same system that we were saying that we wanted to dismantle. But at the same time, if you felt inspired by her and now you're feeling really confused, I just want to highlight that that is totally human too. The real work is this though. Don't put anybody on a pedestal. Yes, representation is really powerful. Yes, diversity matters. And seeing bodies like yours online and in the media and in influential spaces in society, it matters, yes. But your piece cannot live in someone else's body. It has to live in yours. So, to really anchor in this conversation, we do need a little bit of context. So, we're going to zoom out for a moment and we're going to have a chat about where body positivity actually began, how it evolved into what we saw, in the noughties, and what it kind of looks like today. So, the original body positivity movement, fat acceptance movement, was totally political. It was about discrimination and healthcare bias, systemic injustice. And over time, we saw that social media absorbed it, right? And when social media absorbs something, it often makes it pretty aesthetic, cool. It commercializes it, it simplifies it. And so body positivity was more about like confidence and self care, selfies, and it was much less and less about making structural change. It also became centered in many spaces around like white, mid sized, socially acceptable bodies, which obviously diluted its radical roots. But then something else happened too. And I'm sure you felt this because I did. I think that body positivity really started to just feel like pressure, right? I mean, I felt like, well, now I must love my body at all times. I have to feel really like sassy and confident. I have to love having a big ass. And if you don't love it, then you're failing and you hate yourself. And that pressure is actually just as exhausting as trying to conform to diet culture. So, besties, this is why in my work, I don't actually push women towards body positivity at all. I actually prefer women to move towards neutrality and acceptance because you don't need to love your body. You don't need to feel sexy all the time. You do not have to be posting bikini photos and you don't have to feel empowered 24/7. It's actually not realistic. I mean, I don't feel that way. Some days I still have wobbly body image days. Like, I'm only a human, just like you, right? I'm still subjected to all this diet culture messaging all the time. And sometimes it makes me wobble. So there's no need to be perfect and feeling fab 24/7. But you do need to respect your body and you do need to treat it kindly. You need to stop punishing it. And the act of being neutral in your body is actually saying, hey, my body exists. it deserves care, and it doesn't need to be evaluated every 5 minutes. So does that feel a bit more sustainable, a bit more doable, a bit more realistic? Yeah, that's why we aim for body neutrality. And something that I teach in my program is called a body image continuum. And it's a really, really awesome way to understand your relationship with your body. And many of the women that I work with really love this tool. So I'm going to share it with you guys now. So think of it as a spectrum, right? And on one end, we have body hatred, obsession, body shame, constant checking and monitoring of your looks and your body. Okay. That's down the far end. If we come down in here, we have got things like body acceptance, genuine comfort, appreciation, respect. Most of us live somewhere around here in the middle most of the time. And the goal isn't to leap from self hatred to love and acceptance overnight because, again, it's just not realistic. The goal is to move just like one little notch up at a time towards that space in the middle that is the neutrality space. So let's bring it into real life because there's actually specific behaviors that reinforce body distress and keep you stuck down that end of the scale. So I'm going to name a few, and I would love for you to just simply observe whether you recognize yourself in any of these. No judging, no policing. We're just listening and notice if any of these things sound familiar to you. Okay, so behaviors that might be keeping you stuck down the end of that scale. The first is body checking. So that can look like weighing daily, pinching your body, taking comparison photos or looking at old photos of yourself. I mean, I had a client who weighed herself every morning. This is very common. And if that number went up, what she would do that day is she would skip breakfast. But by 3 o'clock, she was starving. And by 6, she was binging. But she blamed herself. So that body checking, that weighing every morning wasn't creating a sense of safety or control like she was intending. You can see that it was actually creating more chaos. The next behavior is called body avoidance. And this can look like avoiding mirrors, avoiding getting your photo taken, avoiding going to places like the beach or the gym or social events because you don't want to be seen or judged. Another example of a beautiful, gorgeous woman I worked with was that she just wouldn't go out on beach days with her kids. She would say things like, well, I'll just go next summer when I feel better, when I've gotten rid of my tummy. But it actually had got to 5 summers going by, and her kids weren't toddlers anymore. You know, they weren't doing the sand castles and jumping over the waves. And so life was just moving on, and she wasn't fully present. And the sad thing, the saddest thing about avoidance is that it's promising you safety because you don't have to go through that anxiety of feeling like you're being judged, but actually you're missing out on your life. You are taking the sideline in your own life when you practice body avoidance. But I want to add something important here, okay? This has a happy ending. Because since this particular client of mine has worked on body avoidance, this past Christmas, she went to the beach with the kids. It wasn't easy. She didn't go in the bikini, but she showed up and she wasn't feeling confident. But she just reached that point where she felt like she was just tired of being on that sideline. She was tired of being afraid of being seen and missing out on these kind of moments with her kids. I'm so proud of her. I'm so proud of her because healing your body image is not about waking up one day and just loving how you look. It's about deciding that your life matters way more than what your tummy looks like. So here's the next behavior. Have a think. This is familiar. It's called appearance altering behaviors. So it could look like extreme restrictions, so dieting, over-exercise, cutting out food groups. It can look like cosmetic surgeries, Botox. And the key part is if you had a disordered relationship with food and you're pursuing weight loss through restriction, it's actually just going to feed this disorder more. Always does. That's why I always tell my clients as well, like, you are allowed to have weight loss goals. But if you have binge eating or body dysmorphia or any sort of eating disorder, then the best thing you could do is just pop those kind of goals on the back burner for right now and work on that relationship with food first. You must learn how to eat consistently. You must learn how to regulate your nervous system, how to sit with your emotions, and come to that space of body neutrality. Then, if you still want to pursue that change in weight and shape and you want to go on a weight loss journey, then you can, because you'll know that you're doing it from a space of self respect and kindness and not from that space of self hatred. Right. I hope that makes sense. So, let me end here, besties, because this is the piece that I think matters the most, right? There's a cycle that I see with the incredible, beautiful, intelligent women in my community. They feel shame about their bodies. So they restrict, they diet, they skip meals, they be good, right? And that restriction then leaves their body feeling physiologically deprived. That deprivation then leads to the overeating or the binging. The binging triggers shame, and that shame only deepens the body distress and discomfort even more, which just pulls them straight back into that restriction again. It is a loop. It's the same loop. I'm sure you can recognize yourself in that, right? And this loop that maybe you're stuck in and my clients have been stuck in is not a loop because they're like weak in discipline or they're just not trying hard enough. It's because that cycle feeds itself. And until you interrupt that loop by being really gentle, really compassionate, the loop just keeps going around and around and around. And so working on your body image, working on that distress is important because it's the thing that often sparks binging and emotional eating. And when you're really constantly criticizing and checking and comparing, trying to shrink yourself, well, your nervous system stays in that threat mode. But when you can start to move yourself towards body neutrality, the nervous system will settle. I promise it will settle. And when it settles, food is going to become less charged. Your urges are going to soften. And it's not going to be because you're trying harder than the past, because you've always tried hard, right? But it's going to be because you stop fighting. And when the fight quiets, the binging, the emotional eating, that quiets too. So that is why this work matters. That's why this conversation matters. I hope it's been helpful because I know right now culture is really loud. Millennials are re-examining what shows like America's Next Top Model did to us. We're watching our public figures evolve. We're debating health, autonomy, harm. It's really messy and I get it. So it can feel really dysregulating. But I want you to remember this. You actually don't need to take a side in an internet war that's all about, healing the relationship with the body. Okay. You don't need to love what you've got. You also don't need to shrink it. You don't need to defend it. You just need to learn how to treat yourself with dignity. And if you've been outsourcing your body piece to influencers or celebrities or movements, maybe it's time to bring that power back home. So, a little task for this week. I want you to really gently notice one body image behavior that is popping up for you. So maybe it's that checking, maybe it's the avoiding, or maybe it's just running a commentary in your head all the time about the way that you look. And all you're going to do is you're just going to notice it. Don't have any shame. Don't try to even fix it. No big overhauls here. I just want to raise awareness. Because awareness is actually that first step towards coming into neutrality. And neutrality is where your nervous system can exhale. Okay. So just noticing this way. That's all from me. Take care. Be gentle with yourselves this week. And I'll be back for another chat next week. Ciao.